Hey guys, we're live on the internet.
Woot, woot, woot.
How's everybody feeling?
I'm tired.
Tired as hell.
I am as well, but I haven't done the same type of stuff y'all have done. I am enjoying a scotch while we do this, and then it will be bedtime for me because I got to start getting up early because Emily has a new job,
Yay!
which means we got to start getting into the routine of getting up earlier to get the boy ready so that they can go, so Emily can be to work on time when she's got to be at work pretty much right at when he has to be at school.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the college is super cool about it, saying that if she shows up like a couple minutes late, just stay a couple minutes longer because
Yeah, it is.
the department she's in is like all ladies between like their late 20s and late 40s. So they all know, hey, kids got kids.
Yeah.
So, uh, no, but this week has been forever long. Like it feels like it's been a millennia since last Monday.
Yeah. Yeah. I think just in general uh from what I've gathered from just in general, uh last week was stupid
Yeah.
and just shouldn't have in general.
Yeah, we've had
Uh,
several folks that had burnout. That was me last Monday when it came to time to run the game. Monday was such a long day; I just was not in the mental place to run it.
yeah.
And also, Claire couldn't make it, so I was like, I kind of want as many people to be here as possible and ready to go because the next section is going to be the next little bit of the Monday night game is going to be rough, and the party will need to be here.
Yeah. We yeah, I had a super long shit a super long shit week last week. To be fair, it started horribly, and then at that point there was kind of an upward trajectory. Accidentally caused a problem Monday that I ended up having to go out and help fix at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and then went into work expecting to work till 12 on Tuesday, and ended up working late. Like I didn't get home until like 5:30. So that was fun. And then because another problem popped up, Wednesday I went and spent the day fixing that, which was frustrating, and I ended up working late that day as well. And then Thursday was just frustrating. I spent the whole day kind of chasing ghosts, things that should have been things that on paper that should have been somewhere on paper, were not. Things that were supposed to have been one way were a completely different way. So I spent literally the entire day walking back and forth about a quarter mile between three locations, trying to figure out what the hell was going on. And then Friday actually fixing it. So it was just really, really dumb. And I am still exhausted. Plus, I'm still kind of fighting bronchitis. So I've been fighting that for 2 weeks.
Hmm.
So that's fun. That's where my life has been for the past week. Just pretty much stupid. How are y'all?
I'm looking at what Cannon got done today that he posted up.
Yeah, I see that.
I plan to be raising roof in 2 weeks.
Hell yeah.
Is the picture of this metal connector, is that just the base that the walls will connect to, the arch?
Yeah, I've got a 65-foot straight panel. That's the, if you look in that picture, the stack that's on the left on the ground,
Mm-hmm.
that's my 65-inch straight wall panels, and then it starts getting the curved panels after that.
Nice.
On the other wall, I've got the first connector in place, and I'm lacking 25 feet of flashing that's got to go down on it, which I knew I was going to be short flashing when I come home from getting it last night.
It's coming together really good though. At least from the pictures. I know it's not easy work.
Oh, I was on my feet for a long time. I did over 10,000 steps, but it wasn't really hard work. It's just I used PL3 Pro construction adhesive as my sealant on the bottom of those panels. And I had to run 3 beads down it and a circle around every hole before I placed it.
Wait. The only other thing I got going on right now is I will be testing 3 days next week for standardized testing, guaranteeing I will be doing 4 next week. Because so far this last week was senior leak testing for all the seniors that are in a core class, and we're talking like you're going to have to test 6 kids. You're going to have to test 6 kids in this room. People calling in sick or just not showing up, and someone else having to sub in and cover for them. And administration's only solution is, well, you really ought not to do that, and then we're going to get on to everybody in a faculty meeting about this. Cool. I do what I'm supposed to and have to cover other people. Why don't you just talk to them? Like, this literally could have been an email, or you meet with them and I'm not involved in this situation. I got to pick up my kids. Like, that's kind of where I am. That and getting told by my professor that I am very terse in my language and might not be the most fun administrator to work with in my the college course I've been in this half semester. And my response is, all I'm doing is literally asking people to do their job by the textbook definition. I'm not asking any extra. I'm literally asking you to, the people that are in this fictitious situation, to do what is the definition of their job. And the response is, it's not what you're saying, it's how you're saying it. But I still got an A, so I don't think there's any problem with what I'm doing.
Yeah, I mean,
It is not my fault that you are upset that I called you on your shit. And that's where I am with that one. That and one of my forum posts was more or less, is anyone honestly surprised that what are 3 of the highest influencing factors on a student's scores are attendance, home life, and home security? Like, do they sleep in the same place every night? Are they not worried about being homeless? Like, that is a no-brainer. Like, I've read about that since day one when I was first starting to teach. And people are still writing new textbooks saying the exact same thing, yet we don't do anything about it. Still trying to figure that one out. Then again,
I mean,
there's no money in the cure. There's only
if you
treating the symptoms makes you money.
if you solve the problem, you cannot continue to talk about it.
Yeah.
And there are people, a great deal of people, who are in very high positions who get paid to talk about it.
Now, that's the scam, man. That's where the real money is.
Yes, sir.
But yeah,
The guy at the beginning of the circle jerk makes all the money.
but uh, I haven't been able to make anything. We are in the mobile stage of baby, and she is, those little crabs you can get for like babies to crawl after, because it's supposed to catch their little tiny baby ADD brain. My child keeps catching that and turning it sideways and looking at me like, "All right, now what?" Like, you're supposed to play with this for a while. Yeah, I'm done. I caught it.
Yeah, but I win. So
Then
what?
then I flip it back up, and she looks at me like, "You son of a bitch."
I just fixed that. Why are you doing this?
Oh, when we did the soda stream, Bosch kept pulling his arm away from her because she kept trying to poke him and grab him, and he jerked his arm away at one point, and the look, it is on stream. She just turned and looked at him like, "You bastard." Like, there was like, she tried to do my glare, but she's a baby, so she has no brows. Like, she does not have the heavy brow like I do to like put emphasis behind it. But I'm looking at the video, laughing my tail off. She is developing my personality, but she's looking more and more like Emily, so that's good. It's good, right? The silence speaks 1,000 words.
Sorry, I was not so I could close the door. Yes, that is good. It is a very, very good thing that the plan is coming together.
Yeah, I know.
The the world domination is well on its way to being a reality. Which, hey, man, that's a dream.
Yeah, the only problem right now is with world domination. I don't know what you're actually dominating at this point anymore. But yeah, I haven't been able to make anything. I have like 4 or 5 walnut serving trays. They're still sitting in the same place they were last time when I started filling in the cracks with epoxy. So one side is brass and the other side is a teal color filling in the cracks. The teal doesn't really show up. I feel like it would show up better if I put it in cherry.
I can see that. It's kind of close to that. There's enough to actually get kind of lost in the shade would get lost. That's what those are the words that are trying to come out of my mouth.
Also, I really, really want to use my new DeWalt jigsaw that has the drum barrel style body with it still has the full handle over the top, but it has like I've always had Ryobi jigsaws, and there's never enough weight to them, and their lock always wiggles. So you're never
Mhm.
getting an actual straight cut. This thing is nice, and I want to use it more. And the jigsaw is legit a tool I have hated for a very long time. But that's mostly because of what I had.
I've never liked jigsaws, and so far I've not found one that's acceptable.
Well, I've only gotten to use this one from DeWalt like 3 times. but it comes highly rated, and so far it does not have a wiggle. The nicest one I've seen is a Triton that the way that you're supposed to use it is because it's the drum barrel, but it doesn't have the full handle. It has the half handle, so it's only the size of a hand. But the way I've seen people use it online is it almost glides through the plywood. But I bet a lot of that's also the blade.
Yeah. I have very much learned that it is you will save yourself time and headache if you spend the extra money on the good blades.
Right now, that's what I got. I think the blades were $30.
I found the same thing on the oscillating saws. Don't waste your money on the ones from Harbor Freight. Go ahead and buy Milwaukee's.
Oh, you're talking about the like the Chicago Sawzall?
No, the oscillating saw, the one where the head shakes side to side and get in under your door trim and get in the tight
Oh,
bit.
multi-tool. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I guess you could call it that.
Well, it's the Ryobi one I had listed as that. The Ryobi one is awesome. But again, that is because I get very expensive blades that I have a habit of destroying.
I've got the Rigid brand, and the blades that came with it did a great job. But I've tried some of the Harbor Freight blades, and where they mount up on the head of the saw, does not last long.
My problem is I keep forgetting which blade I have on my oscillating tool when I use it, and then I end up ruining one on a screw. I've done that 3 times now. I'm just going to start writing on the blade somewhere further away from the teeth what it is.
I like to use mine to trim OSB back to openings.
Mine was really awesome for when I was uh, remodeling the house when we first bought it. That was because I don't know the original toe board, the quarter round that was on the bottom here. I don't know why, but they put so many daggum nails in it that I had to use some. I couldn't just pry it off without ripping drywall out. So I would go through with that oscillating tool and cut everything, and then come back in with a pry bar. Now, also sitting out in the shed right now is and two Tophers. Very much to Topher's credit, he took my camp box and returned it with everything in it.
Nice.
But he felt really bad because my little old teapot that I've had forever fell in the fire and got scorched up the side. And I'm like, it's a camp teapot. It's been scorched. But he bought a new teapot, so now I have 2.
Nice.
And also sitting in boxes right now that I need to get out and at least put them together is a steak grill. You know, the one that you put the metal in the ground and it has like a 16 by 16 inch square grill. I got one of those. I got a small metal table, and I got a iron tripod that can be left in the fire because I have a flat pan, so I can make a griddle for camp cooking now. And the only reason I got that one is because I tried to find the horseshoe trivets for Dutch ovens. I can't afford those. Like the ones on Amazon I found were way too much, and I can't find and the one that I found in the antique store here, they know what they got. The cast iron section is very, very understandably priced, which is why I don't buy it. I don't want a fair deal. I want a good deal. And the thing is, down here, everybody still either uses their cast iron or knows how much cast iron is worth. I need to go up to an antique store up north and see if I can find cheap cast iron. Or have Devin's luck. When we went camping with Devin, he had a Dutch oven that was big enough to be 2 Dutch ovens. It was kind of that oval shaped, and he got it for free because someone's like, "Oh yeah, this one's sitting in my shed. It was here when I moved in. I don't know if it's any good or not. If you want to take it." So Devin took it, reseasoned it, and it doesn't leak. So he's like, "I have like a 8-gallon Dutch oven."
Nice.
Like when he brought that out, I was like, "That is a tiny bathtub."
Yeah.
The main reason I'm getting all this camping stuff is because we have that camping trip next month to Claire's property, and I'm very much looking forward to that.
Oh yeah, that's a thing, huh?
Yeah, I can actually go because
Yeah.
M will not be working weekends anymore.
That's dope.
And she, for a second, there was a thought about coming to camp too, until the Homer bucket potty lid came in, and she goes, "What's that?" "Well, I got this, so we have a bathroom." "I'm out."
Yeah.
That's how quick it was. She's like, "I'm out."
You need to see my composting toilet I built. It's basically a rectangular plywood box with no bottom that you can fit a 5-gallon bucket in with a toilet seat on it, and it's just like sitting on a toilet.
Well, Claire and Moose have bought the privacy tent. I got the bucket and the lid. Once I get paid at the end of this month, I'm going to be buying poo gel, which will solidify waste into a non-smelling cake.
Just get you some pine shavings from Tractor Supply. It absorbs all the moisture and you don't have any smell.
I was also thinking for just this short a time period, pouring the powder in, and then we could bury the bag because it will all be compostable. I know the pine will too. But Claire and Moose got the privacy one because I almost bought it was a full kit that had the privacy tent and the potty in it until it said max interior height is 51 inches. I was like, none of us will physically fit in that potty room.
Yeah.
Except Ruby. Ruby could.
Yeah.
Rest of us, it would be hilarious until it wasn't.
On a different note, have either one of y'all been in a Tandy lately?
No. Is the one in Shreveport even still open? I haven't.
I don't know if the one in Shreveport's open, but the one that was in Metairie that moved to Elmwood, I went to it last weekend. And let me tell you, the prices on leather have gone sky high.
Yep.
Not a surprise. The one in Bossier is still open.
Really?
Yeah. Surprised
I
me
didn't know
too.
I think we ended up we bought 2 sides of 8 ounce, 3 sides of 6 ounce, and a side of stone oiled for straps. And we got a couple little other odd and end things. And let's just say I broke the bank on what I made the last 3 events we've done.
Are we talking about that all being close to $1,000?
Before the business discount, it was $1,400.
Shit.
Damn.
There goes me wanting to try to do leather working again this summer. I still got
bits
and
and pieces.
Now, mind you, they did have some of the economy double shoulders and shoulders that were in the $59 to $69 range, but we bought sides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That and like I have I get emails. I'm on the email if you get on the email list for Tandy, and I believe Weaver's the same way. Uh you'll get like I got an email like Thursday that there was gonna be a flash sale Friday to Sunday. Like it that ended today. So like and they run specials and deals pretty like I get emails from Tandy like pretty fucking regularly. Uh and it's anything from stamps and hardware on are 30% off for 2 days to leather to uh, dyes and colors and other supplies. So you just got to watch the sales.
Well, now I checked Springfield leather, and I found out regardless of what thickness you want, it's $200 a side, and they split it to what you want. And if I'm not mistaken, if the suede's any good, they will send you the suede as well.
Huh.
That's neat. I just got to have time again. Like, I keep forgetting because it's been so long since Vincent was that age. That's like, all right, I'm extremely busy. Then there's a time period. It's like, okay, you're pretty chill. So now I'm not as busy for this like 2 week period. After that, you were insanely more busy than you were before.
Yeah.
Also, the fact that she is still fighting sleep pretty heavy. Like she boxes the Sandman. Like you tell her it's time to go to sleep, and like right now I can hear her in the background fussing with Emily. She's like, I will not go down easy. I will not go quietly into this good night. Then again, once we finally get her to sleep, she'll either sleep on you in the chair or a couple times. And I know a lot of people don't like this, but unfortunately, this is kind of what we're having to do because she will not sleep in her baby bed. Uh, she lays on me. So it looks like both my kids are going to be co-sleepers for a little while.
Yeah, it's just one of the
If she didn't
not
kick, it would not be that bad.
yeah. Uh yeah, I mean, Harley was bad for finding your kidneys um like regularly. Uh that's one thing I wish we would have done a little bit. We would have tried a little bit harder on was just letting her cry.
Yeah, I can't do that one.
And I wish we would have because that caused a whole lot of issues over time with trying to get her to go to sleep. So it's gotten better, except on Sundays are always hard.
I mean, you have Friday, Saturday night that you. I let Vincent stay up later, but he's not a big issue on Sunday night. He goes. We got him pretty much on a schedule. Freya says, "Fuck your schedule." Like right now, she is. I can hear her. She is super sleepy,
Mm-hmm.
and she is mad that she is sleepy, and therefore she is mad at everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh oh, for the camping trip, something is Topher and I have designed a chuck box so
Nice.
that we can consolidate more of the stuff that's inside my house for camping into that.
Yeah.
into the box for camping, so that all the cookware will be in the chuck box. We've mapped it out. I have to figure out the actual dimensions. So, but it'll be one of those that you can take something off the top, put it on the ground, and stand it on that, so it's taller.
Mm-hmm.
The issue will be finding the happy medium between something Ruby and Emily and, well, not Emily because she ain't gonna have it. Mish could use and Topher can use. Counter heights are drastically different in that category.
Yes.
Kind of like all of my workbenches are about 2 inches higher than they're supposed to be technically, and then there's my tall work counter that Bosch still is like, oh man, that's like 6 inches too. I'm like, it's happy for me because I can put my elbows on it. I can lean forward a little bit and put my elbows on it. This is the best height. I ain't bending over.
I've been seriously considering one of those tables that elevate via a screw, so you can make it a standing table or a sitting table or a in
Mm-hmm.
between.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen so many people turn those into like awesome craft stations.
I mean, like when I'm cutting leather, I would rather be standing. And if I'm having to stand and bend over my actual work top, it gets hard on the back.
Yeah. Um. Ultimately, uh, doing I will ultimately turn my ultimate crafting station will be a convertible desk. Uh, that'll allow me to go from sitting to standing, because I just stand and like I have a tendency to stand a lot more than I honestly than I should. With especially with some of the issues that I have. Uh, so if I'm gonna do it anyway, I might as well put myself in a position. Uh, I might as well put myself in a position where it's at least more comfortable to work.
I got a question for you, Knox.
You
While you were in the process of moving and had everything packed up, how many times did you need something? You knew you had it, but you could not put your hands on it.
a handful of times. A lot of my stuff was. I mean, it also also in a situation where although my stuff was packed up, I could find a reasonable facsimile for what I was trying to do in my dad's in the with from my in my dad's stuff. So it really wasn't that big of an issue for me. But there's a handful of times of, well, shit, that I really want to do X, but all of that shit's in storage, so I can't. So I gotta wait until the weekend or until I get a chance to go pass by storage to pick it up, and then I got to figure out where the fuck it's gonna stay while I'm not using it. Like my leatherworking tools was a big was a big thing, but I those never went into storage. Those stayed in a room with me in a corner, and if I needed them, I could just pull them out. And I mean, honestly, it's we were with our situation. We were just I did a lot of the stuff. I just said fuck it and did without.
Yeah, I'm running into that on the daily. My latest excursion, I know I've got 8 7 1/4 inch saw blades for my skill saw. I
Uh,
needed a saw blade. Could not put my hands on them. It was faster for me to go to the hardware store and buy another blade than it was to
yeah,
try to tear crap apart to find them.
Uh,
another issue,
yeah,
another solution that I use quite frequently.
is the reason why I have a couple extra blades for my circular saw right now too. Is I could not. Of course, once you buy the blade and you come back, you remember exactly where you have everything at.
Well, one of my last big purchases, I decided I wanted one of the U.S. General tool cabinets, top and bottom, from Harbor Freight, the better quality ones.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up getting the top and bottom, and I've been making a point to the things that I'm using tool wise that are going in that cabinet as I find them and use them.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good idea. I have to keep telling myself I do not need to buy the Ryobi or the rigid pack and go system. The
Mm-hmm.
one that like has its own built-in dolly.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, Ryobi has a dolly slash workstation that hooks up to all of their pack and go stuff, and I'm like, I don't need it. I
I
Well, I
really
want
tell
it,
don't.
you,
but don't need it.
I tell you, the U.S. General bottom cabinet, I got the 27-inch one, but the bottom cabinet has deep drawers on it. You can't you can't store a skill saw in it, but if you got a drill or something that's in a metal box, 9 times out of 10, it's gonna fit in one of those drawers on the bottom.
My issue, I'm gonna double check this real quick. My issue is the Connect system that I'm using is the Husky system.
It's not bad.
It's not. I'm enjoying the shit out of it. The only issue is let's see. No. Oh wait. Nope. There it is. Never mind. There they do have it. They do have it. I just nobody fucking carries it right currently where I'm at. Um, the wheelbase for it, like the actual dolly portion of it, has a large tub, a medium sized tub, and one of the standard size cases for like what I'm using for my cards and stuff like that. Um, but nobody's carrying, but no, like nobody, none of the Home Depots around have them in stock. So eventually, it's $100. Eventually, I'm gonna pick it up because it's just gonna make that's probably might just make my life a whole lot easier at some point. Um,
When you got the
especially if I
cash,
switch.
when you got the cash and you want it, if they don't have it in stock, order it and have it shipped to the store, and there's no shipping.
This is true.
Yeah, that is the plan. Um, because I mean, I've got three of the standard 22-inch ones. Um, I got three of those, and I have I don't know what it's called. The other one that I have is that's what it is. It's the 22-inch compartment connect cantilever small parts organizer, which is basically it's just one of the standard 22-inch cases that has a cantilever top on it that opens up to a smaller to a case that's about half that size with smaller bins in it. That's what I was using for my vampire cards. Um, because I could use the small bins for all the little small pieces and stuff that I need until my decks ended up outgrowing it, and when it got to the point where I could only carry less than half of the decks that I have in it, it was time to graduate. It was time to, I say graduate, but resort back to the white 1,000 count boxes to put my decks in and throwing them in a bag, because it at that point it just got easier than adding another one of those husky boxes and still not being able to hold everything.
The main reason I have to keep telling myself not to buy the larger, like the $300 set that has the large, the medium, and I think a small, is terrain storage for D&D. That'd be like legit the only reason, because I'll be honest, the best thing I've found to store minis in is I have the Walmart brand double pack of pack and goes, but
Mhm.
they also will link up with the HDX from Home Depot pack and goes. They work very well for 90% of minis.
Yeah,
But
and I think ultimately it's gonna a lot of that stuff is gonna a lot of my mini stuff is gonna end up in these cases as well. uh, just simply because it's really convenient, and I can just throw them all together and just get another one if I need it, and I can get the smaller ones or the standard size ones or the larger ones if I need, for like my larger minis, and I can set it up and I can put foam in it to protect them.
I need to double check the boxes we've been using for Darwan, because Chris has grabbed stuff out of multiple boxes. I need to make sure where it all ended back up. I did have sort of a system, but it when we clean up, sometimes like when we get finished at 11 o'clock one night, everybody was like, "We need to go," and I was like, "You need to go. I love you, but you need to go.
Hmm.
I have work tomorrow." Uh,
That's unfortunate. Looking at the well, I'll post a link so you can see it. Uh, the this is the system that I'm using.
s-
Unfortunately, the
uh,
look at the second picture. You see the actual case that has the wheels on it doesn't actually have a lid.
no, the
Uh,
the medium sized one clicks onto that.
yeah, and that is the lid, which is kind of unfortunate.
Well,
However,
depends on what you want to use it for.
yeah. Plus the smaller one at the smaller one at the bottom, which is the top one in the first picture, is that's the standard size ones, and that grid pattern on the top is legit. What you get, you get two fours. You get 8 small compartments and 2 double wide compartments.
It's bad every time I go to Home Depot. It's like a 50-50 shot on, am I doing something actually with what this store is meant to do, or am I building something that is not the intended purpose of this product?
Mm,
Like when I bought all the PVC to build Monstrosity 3.0, aka now the skeleton or Mr. Skelly Bones,
mm.
because Chris kept calling it the skeleton, and then someone, probably me, said Skelly Bones, and people started going Skelly Bones. I'm like, great, the Monstrosity 3.0 now has a name.
Yes.
Uh, People are like, why are you buying all this PVC? Are you plumbing? No, what are you doing? I'm building a backdrop for a web series. Oh, I was like, don't you judge me. Actually, I don't care. Judge me. I'm still doing this. But also, someone else, oh crap, I could use that for backdrops for my photo company. I'm like, yeah, it's cheaper than the ones you buy online.
And it depending on how well you build it, better quality.
So then again,
Yeah,
all Home Depot is a massive toy store.
absolutely. Yeah, it's like the one that I put up, the second one that I put up, which is the drawer system. I mean, that's something that I'm probably going to end up with a couple of these for uh I made up with a couple of these for jewelry, and move all of my jewelry stuff into these.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's just gonna make life easier looking to finding stuff and actually organizing stuff. Plus, as long as you have something on top, you can just leave shit in those top compartments.
It's one of those when I see stuff like it's like, man, if this had existed when we were going to conventions a lot, this would have been great.
Yeah,
Because honestly,
the
a
the
full
proto the proto of the proto of that the top of the rolling one. I mean, that's effectively what I have all my leather stuff in. I have the standalone one from Husky, which uh it's it's the same thing Cedric was using uh for everything he would put together uh for his panels. It's a standard toolbox on top, and you pull the handle and push the top back, and it opens up into a three tier system with the toolbox on top, a segmented section in the middle, and a big toolbox at the bottom. That's what all my leather stuff's in.
mine is currently in a like 3.5 foot long, uh, hefty plastic container in Freya's closet, which is the one reason I keep forgetting it's back there and haven't finished up the gun belt I've been not working on for 3 years. It's tooled. I am now in the point where I need to stain it, seal it, and put it together.
Hmm. This is interesting. I just came across a website called Neat Tools. Apparently, they make custom inserts for like
The packing goes.
the dra- the drawers the specific like this is specifically inserts for the two drawer system. The second link that I posted, the
Mm-hmm.
one with the two drawers on it. This is specifically inserts for to put inside the compartments inside those drawers to break up the compartments even more.
Oh, that's cool.
So there's a single, which I don't know why you would use the single. There's a double, which splits it in half horizontally. There's one that does it vertically. There's one that does it vertically, and then one half of it is split horizontally again.
Hmm.
There's the same thing, but in the opposite orientation. So it's split horizontally with the top section being bisected, and then there's a quartered, which is interesting. It's $12 a piece. I mean, you'd need, but it gives you a chance to, it gives you an opportunity to really subdivide those drawers, which is interesting.
Neat.
I'll keep that in mind.
Let's see, we're getting down close to an hour here. Anybody got any recommendations? Yo, Grave, you're coming at the end.
Yo.
Yo. I will recommend the Fallout series on Amazon. That is what I am going to control myself and slowly go through. Uh, yeah, you can't believe this, but I'm slowly going through this. I think I'm on episode 3 or episode 4. Absolutely love it. Also, no, we're not going another hour, Grave. I love Walter Goggins, the Ghoul. I'm not disturbed, yet I am disturbed by the number of women that have posted sitting on his lap would cure them.
Don't really have any recommendations, but I have been hard and heavy watching YouTube videos on metal days because I'm trying to get 3 laps surfaced, and I don't want to pay the price. I'd rather go buy my own machine. That and a rock slab saw are next on my purchase list.
Nice.
uh, yeah, I really don't have too much either. Uh, I recently kind of started watching wrestling regularly again. If anybody out there is a lapsed professional wrestling watcher, now is a really good time to jump back into WWE because it's really really good.
I saw a clip from not too long. It might have been longer ago, but the only new wrestler I knew was I saw Sheamus, and the only reason I know it's Sheamus is because looking at that individual, there's only one name that that guy or character would have. Talking about there were no people that could ever scare him or get him to be anything, and then Michael Hart, I think it was Michael Hart. Uh, he's not. He didn't fall on the turnbuckle, did he?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know, but it was 3 older wrestlers. I think it was Michael Hart, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and then Mick Foley came out and he looked scared. And I'm sitting there going, dude, you don't need to be scared of Mick Foley. I watched him waddle. That man is held together by determination, duct tape, and glue.
I mean, and then not even so, and then well, I mean, in some situations, literal glue. Uh,
That and Stone Cold Steve Austin, both his knees are shot.
oh yeah, oh yeah, his both knees and his neck. Um, but fun fact, Mick Foley's book "Have a Nice Day" is the first time that I heard of, and the reason that I know that you can use that super glue is
Liquid
an
skin.
adequate replacement for liquid bandage.
Yep. Uh, I knew that from the Dresden Files because there's a scene where somebody was using model airplane glue and an accelerant to close up a stab wound.
Hmm.
And I was like, I need to Google this. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
as you do.
Makes sense.
Uh, me finding this out predates Google, so
You're old.
uh-huh.
I'm not far behind you. I turned 40 this year.
Yeah,
My kids are talking about how ancient I am. I'm like, yes, I remember the days when dial up internet was the state of the art.
don't speak to me about the old magics, which I was there when it was written.
Oh no, we've one of the things we've talked about. Chris posted up Rowdy Piper saying most wrestlers don't make it past 60.
That is unfortunately, although that is actually
Not a,
it is like it is becoming less true. Which is in fact a uh which is an improvement. Uh, because some of these guys are finally getting a chance to get some of the times in which we live are allowing some of these guys to actually get the
the treatment they
medical
deserve.
attention and that they and the attention that they need.
They need to do something to help Ric Flair. His woo is not what it used to be.
I don't think there's anything to do Ric Flair. I mean, there's only so with Ric Flair. There's only so much you can do, considering the fact that, like, if you've ever seen Ric Flair take a bump, which for those who do not know, a bump in wrestling vernacular is when you fall. There's a specific way to do it correctly. That correct way is to maximize the surface area of your body that hits the mat simultaneously. Which is the reason why two main correct ways to take a bump are flat back or flat face. Like the front of your body, either as much of the front of your body hitting at the same time, or as much as the back of your body hitting at the same time. Ric Flair always hits the mat on his right side because he was in a plane crash and broke his back. So there's only so much you can do uh, with that kind of an injury, and then continuing to wrestle when you maybe should have, maybe shouldn't have.
How many professional wrestlers have wrestled when they shouldn't have, especially back in the 80s and 90s?
All of them.
Let's see, what wasn't it? Didn't the Undertaker break somebody's like shoulder blade or something and didn't realize it? Like there's
Mm,
it was either him or Kane choke slammed someone and they actually got hurt. Like it was like one of the early wrestler, one of the 90s WrestleManias.
and there's the
There's also Mick
there's
Foley going through the cage. That
yeah,
was
yeah, SummerSlam. That was Hell in a, the second ever Hell in a Cell match. Which I mean,
who was it?
that was
Who actually slammed Mick Foley? Like Foley took a 20-foot drop, didn't he? Or was it
yes,
15?
that was Taker. That was Undertaker.
Yeah, didn't he
That
was
was
like wasn't he like
closer.
wasn't it one of those oh shit stay down dude?
Well, okay, so during the course of the match, Foley goes through. They go up on top of the cage, and uh, Undertaker choke slams him through the cage. They knew that's what they were going to do. That was a part of the match. Um, here's the scenario for people who say that wrestling is fake. First rule of thumb: don't ever say it around me because I will show you. Um, I will demonstrate just how fake it is. Uh, Knowing what is going to is the this is the key, a very important distinction in the lesson of knowing what is going to happen and what actually happens and how it happens are two completely different things. Mark Calloway, The Undertaker, and Mick Foley, Mankind, both were on top of that cage and knew that The Undertaker was going to choke slam Mick Foley. Mick Foley was going to go through the cage and hit the mat. It was set up that way. It was engineered that way. That's why the cage hinged open. Here's the problem. The steel chair that was on top of the ring as well with them was a little bit too close to the panel that was going to fall. So when Mick went through the cage, so did the chair, which then landed on his face, which then proceeded to dislodge his front right canine tooth, which then in Mick's words made the 2-inch journey through his soft palate into his lower sinuses and then out of his nose. So the picture that you see of Mick Foley in the corner after that choke slam, that looks like he's got a booger in his nose and he's smiling. He is not smiling. He is sticking his tongue into the hole in the top of his mouth to see how bad it is. And that is not a booger, that's actually one of his incisors. So that happens, and Mick is out. Like he's out on his feet. Like the lights are on. Nobody's home. Uh, a bunch of officials and Terry Funk come out and start checking on him. Funk turns around, starts yelling at the Undertaker to buy time because we need to give Mick time to come to his senses and recover, and then give time for a decision to be made on what's going to happen next. So Terry goes out, starts hollering and fussing with the Undertaker. Him and the Undertaker get into a thing. Undertaker choke slams him. By the time that's finished, Mick has come back to his well, I say come back to his senses. He has woken up and is now on autopilot. Rolls off of the gurney, runs back down to the ring, and immediately starts climbing the cage again. Undertaker sees this and goes, "Cool, he's okay." Because that's what you would assume. All right, he got his bell rung. We bought him enough time to get his head back. We're good. Meanwhile, Mick is still only half conscious. He did not remember anything past the choke slam. He climbs to the top of the cage in the next spot, which Mick Mick immediately went for. Undertaker obliged him. Was for the Undertaker to throw him off the top of a 25-foot cage into the announce table, which is what he did. He fell, which spawned one of the most iconic quotes in professional wrestling history: "By God, he's broken in half." And then they go on to finish the match because Mick Foley is a
Is
psychopath
and a professional.
Yeah. Also, legitimately one of the most down to earth, mild mannered individuals on the face of the planet. Who also, um, who also listens to Christmas carols year round and loves roller coasters more than 5 children put together.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. Roller coasters are fun.
Yeah.
And if you curse at them,
So
they give you a better ride.
yes. So yeah, that's what happened with that. That's the story of the second Hell in a Cell match. So just a little bit of fun fact for you.
Didn't that result in several things getting changed?
No.
No. I thought they
No,
had to
not at
change.
all.
I thought they had to change one safety measure thing.
No. And it is not. And the answer to that question being no is not. It's not actually a negative is not actually a negative that you would believe. The reason that it led to literally zero changes is because Undertaker and Mick were legitimately the only two people who could have gotten away with that. The reason it didn't lead to any changes is because number one, none of that had ever been done before. And number two, because of that match, nothing like that will probably ever happen to that degree again. Like you'll get guys jumping off of the top of the cage or being thrown off the top of the cage. Things like that's fine, but to the degree that they went that Undertaker and Mick Foley went to uh in that match, that they'll never happen again because number one, you're not really going to find anybody that's, well, I mean, that's not 100% true. I personally know a couple of guys that would do it. But just in general, it's not something that would be in general. It's not something that would be allowed outside of those two individuals at that time for that match, because that's one of the big things about wrestling, and something that a lot of people don't understand nowadays is just because you can doesn't mean you should. When you should matters. When you should is when it means something. And that's what there's another guy who's currently in AEW by the name of John Moxley. John Moxley, it's a big problem in AEW in general. You'll have guys that have that on a normal TV show will have these 20-minute banger matches. That's awesome. If every exhibition match that you have is a 20-minute banger, then the 30-minute banger that you have at the pay-per-view for the storyline that is actually for the storyline that you're doing that actually means something doesn't mean a fucking thing. If you're getting into a fight and you get busted open and you're bleeding and it's a hardcore street fight every time you're in a ring. Every time you're in a ring on a random Thursday or a random Friday, then when it needs to mean something, it doesn't. So Jim Cornette has a saying that kind of applies to it. It's in a similar vein of, how can we miss you if you don't go away? You can't have a surprise day. You can't have a surprise debut if you wrestled on the show the week before. You can't have a comeback if you don't go away. But that is a long rant. I mean, I know I've taken up a decent amount of time with it already. However, that is a long diatribe and a soapbox that I could get on, that I'm not going to, because we ain't got the time for that.
No, we don't, because some of us need to go to bed before
Yeah,
midnight.
yeah, and we wouldn't.
No,
Mm-mm. No, because that's I have opinions.
it's been so long since I watched wrestling. Triple H was still a thing.
He is now a very different and very important thing.
Like, he was still like D-Generation X was still a thing the last time I watched.
Yeah,
So that's like The Rock before his movie career.
yeah.
I think Brock Lesnar had just shown up.
I'm going to really date myself. I haven't watched it since Bruiser Bob Sweet Tan and The Spoiler.
Oh,
Oh,
goddamn, son.
wow. Holy
The Bob Sweetan shit.
that's a fucking minute.
The fucking spoiler. Jesus Christ. But I mean, that year in Mississippi, that'd have been back in that day. That'd have been Continental, or would that have been UWF? That'd have been.
It was back in 75, 76, 77 time frame.
Uh,
That's before
hmm.
even this. That's before even the Southern Division, wasn't it? I don't know.
There we
Like
go.
the furthest back I can remember is I remember when it was stunning Steve Austin,
Yeah. Let's see.
and
It's a
I
list
also
of the NWA
remember the Iron Sheik.
Okay, so so that would have been for a Southeast Continental. Okay, so that would have been because it uh that would have been Mid South Wrestling. That would have been Bill Watts because that was Bill Watts in the UWF ran Louisiana, all of Arkansas, most of Oklahoma, and half of Mississippi, and the west half of Mississippi. Continental ran the east half of Mississippi, almost all of Alabama, and the west half of the Panhandle of Florida.
They took my grandfather to see a wrestling match at the Coliseum in Jackson. And now my grandfather got into his wrestling. He
Uh,
got into it so well that the person he was rooting for was getting beat, and he got up and went in the ring.
uh that's that's a
That's the old days.
that's the thing. That is a thing. That is the measure of how good. It's a measure of how good the bad guys are. It's a measure of how good the good guys are. That they could elicit that type of uh that they could elicit that kind of response. Um, there are stories about Ricky Morton of the Rock and Roll Express while he's getting while he's getting beat up, which is colloquially known as taking the heat. Um, where he's getting cut off and he can't get to his partner and he's just getting the shit kicked out of him by both of his opponents. Where could just reach out into the crowd with this pained expression on his face to just help me, and guys would jump the fucking guardrail. To the point where Ricky didn't do that no more because, well, I mean, they tried to they would literally try to kill the heels. You know, it's they would literally try to murder him. The Midnight Express got literally run out of Shreveport, run out of Alexander, run out of Shreveport. Um, like people following them, and they had to beat them out of town. They had to run from the cops once in Homa, because the people were following them. So the cops chased them all off and pulled them over to make sure everything was good. And the cop was not a fan of the Midnight Express, so they had to shag ass. They got arrested in Baton Rouge. Is There's a lot of
How good are you at your job if that's what the response is?
absolutely.
But we have made
Uh,
it to about an hour and 15. So before we get on to yet another tangent and do a southern goodbye,
yeah,
uh, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you, Gray, for commenting. We'll be back tomorrow with Holy Winds. So that'll be fun. And then we'll be back the following Sunday with Darrell. We might have a stream of a video game or two here sometime this week. We just have to see. Because as much as I want to, I'm also supposed to be turning in a signature assessment that does not tell someone that they're an asshole. In those words, I can do it if I do fancy words. So we got that coming up. So just keep an eye out. And Nox, since you're actually here,
We appreciate y'all hanging out with us this evening. Till next time, folks. Don't let your meatloaf.
Thank you for tuning in to another Bonus Roundtable podcast brought to you by Team Bonus Action. If you'd like to find more out about us, you can go to our website at teambonusaction.com, or you can check us out on Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube as Team Bonus Action, or on Twitter at bonus_team. And since Nox is not here, don't let your meatloaf.